Hey, what's going on? My name's Coach Lee Hopkins. My pronouns are he, him, his, and you're listening to the Patterns of Possibility podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to helping you replace harmful patterns with new possibilities. In each episode, we explore topics that inspire you to be yourself, live your truth, and make lasting connections. In this episode, we're going to talk about being the friend that you want to see in the world. What I mean by this is exactly what Mahatma Gandhi had said. Be the change that you want to be in the world. Maybe you've heard something like, if you want a friend, you have to be a friend. It's really important that you recognize who you are is reflected in your friendships or your desired friendships. So if you want friends that are consistent, reliable, and secure, then you also have to be that. Your friends are a reflection of you. I know I may have touched some nerves with that, but I'm here to tell you the truth and help empower you to make the lasting kind of friendships that you want. Are you ready? Let's go. Many years ago, I would describe my ideal friendships as consistent, I'd say reliable, and I'd say I want to be around people who are secure about themselves. But I was anything but those things. I was not consistent. I was not reliable, and I wasn't secure. You know, and so I attracted people who were just like me, just like me. They were hanging out in the same places, doing the same things, just as I did. And so when I say be the friend that you want to see in the world, you have to be able to be on the same level with the people that you want to be with. Or else there's just going to be frustration and discomfort and a bit of resentment because the people that you want to hang out with, you're not doing the same things that they're accustomed to. Essentially, you don't share the same value system because you're not behaving in the same way. I would say consistency is akin to habits. What are your habits? What are the activities that you do in your daily life, in your weekly life? What are those routines that you have? And when I say consistent, many people might think, oh, yeah, definitely showing up. But consistent doing what? Consistency doing what? Now, usually when we're looking for friendships, it's consistency and doing something that we like say a habit or a hobby. Consistency. And one of the common mistakes that I've noticed, or one of the issues that I've noticed in people trying to develop friendships with others or connections with others, is that whatever they're consistently doing is not the same thing that their ideal friend would be consistently doing. For example, working out. We love to find workout buddies to keep us accountable, accountability buddies and things like that. But I strongly disagree with looking for workout buddies and trying to develop a relationship with them. Because if you're not consistently working out in the first place, if you're relying on somebody, this is, I guess, the caveat, because many people, I'm going to say we, I don't know you, but there are people out there. And I was a person like that who wanted to go to places where I thought people were consistent and try to be consistent with them, try to do the thing that they were doing with them, when I didn't really have the drive to do that in the first place. And I would say working out is one of those things where others will try to do that. Maybe you can relate to it. And we'll try to do that. We'll try to go I want to find a workout buddy and then develop a relationship with them from there, friendship with them from there. But if you're not already doing the workout, if you're already consistent with getting up in the morning and going to the place to do the thing, if you're not consistent and intentionally spending your time and energy with that, you're not going to find the kind of relationship you want to, because there's going to be animosity and frustration because they're going to be ready at the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning. And they're going to have to call you and be like, where are you? Because you're not consistently doing this already. You're relying on somebody else to create that system for you to get up and go to that place. Now, I'm not saying that you can't have accountability buddies, but if you try and develop an entire friendship and a connection over this piece where you're not consistent and they are consistent, well, there's going to be some frustration. Be consistent doing the things that you like and enjoy already. Do that first. This is what I mean by being the friend that you want to see in the world. If we're talking about being reliable, it's the very same. You want people to show up when they say they're going to. You want people to tell you no when they really mean no, or not to expect or not to waffle. You have to do the exact same thing. Now, let me ask you, think about this. Let me ask you, how often do you say no when you really mean yes? How often do you say, maybe I'll think about it. I'm not sure. Let me go. I'll get back to you in a couple of days, when you knew at that point in time that you wasn't going to do whatever they asked you for. You knew that you weren't interested. I don't know. How many times have you done that? I've done that a whole lot. I'm like, I know that I have done that a whole lot. I'd tell people maybe, sure, kind of, I'll decide, I'll show up. Or I would say yes when I really meant to say no, and then I would cancel at the last minute. Ooh, that is not reliability. And I'd be surprised when people would do that stuff to me. I'd be surprised when people wouldn't say how they feel to me. I've talked about this before, but I used to go to some parties when I was in California. I used to hang out with some people, and they would always ask me, like, hey, what's going on, Lee? You want to come over and hang out? And I was like, oh, I don't know. I would probably sound like that too. Like, I don't know. Just all wishy-washy and insecure and unsure about it. I didn't want to hurt their feelings. I didn't want to reject the invite, and I didn't want to disappoint them. And I also didn't want to miss out on the opportunity to be around people. So I would sound like, I was ridiculous with that. I can laugh at myself now because it's something that can change. It's not a permanent fixture in your life and who you are. It's just an experience to learn from. When you reflect back on those experiences like I do, maybe you're in it right now and it feels hard, but when you get through it, you get to reflect on those experiences and you're like, oh yeah, I was totally like that. And I remember what it felt like to be like that. I remember what it felt like to have people look at me as if I wasn't a reliable person and thinking that, oh, you're wrong. I am reliable. I do things. No, I'm not. And I laugh at myself because I've learned and I've grown so much. And so can you. If this fits you, so can you. You can be consistent and you can be reliable and you can find those people that you really want to connect with because they're out there. They're out there who just aren't on the same level yet. You're just not doing the same kind of things. You are going to frustrate each other. I guarantee it. You're going to frustrate each other where you're not consistent doing the thing that you want to be consistent with. So if you're not consistent going to the gym, if you're not consistent going for walks, if you're not consistent cooking for yourself, if you're not consistent in studying the thing that you want to study, and you want to be around people who are doing that, they're going to continue to show up and be consistent and look for you when you don't show up. And when you don't show up, you're likely to have these feelings of sadness and disappointment because you're disappointing yourself, then you let down the group of people and you just may not show up. You might shrink away. I'm talking about this stuff from my own personal experience. These are things that I've done. I've said, yes, I want to show up and I want to do things, and I didn't. And I was embarrassed and they were annoyed. They expected me to do it, So it's not right. It's not the right time. You're not compatible. You want a consistent person, you be a consistent person first. If you want a reliable person, you be a reliable person first, because all they're going to do is be frustrated with the fact that you haven't shown up when you said you would, and you're going to be embarrassed because you weren't able to for whatever feelings that you've had, whatever really reasons that you wasn't able to show up. You are not going to want to share and explain with them because they're reliable and they expected it from you. You're going to shrink down. It's not your time just yet. You have to show up. You have to be reliable. And the first person you have to do these things for is for yourself. There's for nobody else. It's for nobody else around. Going to the gym, being consistent with whatever routine that you have is for you. Being reliable and doing the things that you said that you were going to do is for you. It's like really being a friend to yourself. And you will automatically attract these people who are consistent and reliable. And as a result, you'll find security in that too. You'll find people who are secure because they do things that empower them. They do things because it's for them, and you will be among them because you're doing those things for yourself. And when you're trying to build this up, you start small. Start small. Be consistent with little things that happen in your life. Be reliable with little things that happen in your life. Be secure about little things that happen in your life. You can't do everything at once. You can't do it overnight. It is a process that will happen. And I'll tell you how I got started with being consistent. I was at a really low point. I was really depressed. I wasn't really unable to do much for myself. I was just a disappointment to everything all around. It was just in such a low place, and I didn't really think much of myself. But then I watched this video, or heard something about this guy saying that you have to make up your bed. If you want to save the world, you have to make up your bed first. And I was like, I can't even do that. That's ridiculous. I can't even make up my own bed. I was just not able to do anything to demonstrate consistency in a way that was productive anyway. I was consistently doing things that weren't in my best interest, that didn't make me feel powerful or empowered. But when that changed, I bought a ring, and it was just like one of those, like a carbonite ring. I'm not really into a fancy thing. You'll probably never see me wear any jewelry or gold or anything like that, because that's not one of the things that I really value. But there was this ring that really looked good. It was like a black and silver ring, and I just wanted to buy it. It was, I think, maybe $20. It was on clearance. It was on clearance. So I bought this ring, and I put it on my first finger, my pointer finger on my left hand. And I was like, oh, this feels good. I feel great. Wonderful. I'm going to keep this ring. And at night, it just felt uncomfortable, so I would take it off. Just take it off at night. And the next morning, I'd put it on. And the night, I'd take it off. In the morning, I'd put it on. And I realized that, well, this is something that I do every day. It just happened for a week or two. I realized, well, this is something I do every day. And one day, I almost didn't put it on because I almost forgot about it. I almost left without it. And I went back and I put it on. I'm like, every day I'm going to do this. If I'm not going to do anything, I'm going to put this ring on every single day. And I did it every single day. And I felt more empowered because I was intentionally changing the environment in a way that I wanted to. It's not for anybody else. It was just for me. I picked up that ring. I put it on my finger when I went out the door every single day. I did that, and I felt powerful doing it. I'm like, all right, I can do this. I can make this one change happen, and I can make other things happen. I can make up my bed every single day. Well, if I can't make my bed up every single day, that's okay. I can put my ring on every single day. So I did that. I put the ring on, and then I made my bed up. And sometimes I wouldn't make up my bed, but at the very least, I put that ring on every single day. I impacted my world in a way that was consistent, and it felt powerful to me. And so that's where you start. We start with doing little things that drive consistency, that drive stability. And then you work your way up. You work your way up and start saying yes to more things, start saying no, start being more clear about what it is that you want. Because when I became consistent, I got clarity. I knew that I was capable of doing something. I knew that I was capable of putting on my ring. Then I found that knew that I was capable of making my bed up every morning. Then I knew I was capable of washing the dishes. Then I knew I was capable of feeding myself. And I knew I was capable of trying new dishes. Then I knew I was capable of anything else. It just works. It just builds up just like that. And I'm sharing all this with you because you might not know where to start. You want friends that are consistent, reliable, and secure, but you aren't that yourself. Let's build that up first. Little steps will get you very far. Guarantee. And before you know it, you'll look back and you'll laugh. You'll laugh at what you used to do because you're a whole new person. And I hope that you also have empathy for that person you were. And be kind and gentle and compassionate to that person who just didn't know what they needed. I'll be right back with the Answer Reddit question. All right, now it's time for the Reddit friendship advice question. If you have a friendship advice question that you think I should answer, tag me in it on Reddit. My handle is Brilliant and Resilient. That's Brilliant, the letter N, Resilient. How do I deal with lying and broken promises and them not wanting to end the friendship? I have a guy friend of 10 plus years who constantly does this type of stuff, and it annoys me so much. I tried to talk to him about it multiple times, but he either just lies about it, finds excuses, brushes it off, or straight up denies it, or says he won't do it again, but still continues to do it. He often will make open plans with me, saying he wants to go somewhere or do something, but never mentions a date or time. And if I ask him what date, he'll always be like, "I'll let you know," and then never gets back to me, or just does the thing with his other friends instead. I tried to end the friendship with him early last month, and he kept saying he didn't want the friendship to end and that he'll stop. I didn't really believe him, and literally like 2 weeks later, it happened again. How do I deal with this if he won't let me end the friendship? And how do I end the friendship if he won't let me? Well, Redditor, thanks so much for writing this. It seems like you're really in a difficult situation. It seems like you really do want your friendship to improve and you want something different to happen. And you're hanging on. You're hoping that they will actually change. And I see that I picked this out because 10 plus years who constantly does this type of stuff and it annoys you. That's like the first thing. Like you said, 10 plus years. And it's an investment, right? You've invested 10 years into this relationship, into this connection. And of course, you wouldn't want it to end. It's hard to let go of something like that when you believe in it so much. You want to believe the words that they say to you. And of course you would. And of course you would. Anybody would. It's been 10 years. There's got to be something that you can do to change, to fix, to help the relationship grow. I certainly understand your point of view. And it seems like you're getting to the point where you want the friendship to end. You want something to change. You just don't know how to do it. So I thought this would be great for this episode because we're talking about what we want to see in our friends is what we see in ourselves. And I talked a bit about the frustration that you would find if you're two people on different levels, especially with this consistency piece. So they're consistently doing something that doesn't feel good to you, and you're in the loop with them. You want your consistency to look differently. You want them to say what they mean and mean what they say. You want them to behave in a way that you behave, right? And so you're frustrated because they constantly do the thing that frustrates you, obviously. So what do we want to do here is really acknowledge you and how you feel about the situation and really hang on to that. Focus on you. Focus on what's important to you. And be careful not to get caught up in their words and more so their actions. You've watched them for 10 years do this over and over and over again. What is going on? Wonder what is it that is happening? What else? Because there's only a few lines. I mean, you condensed the 10 years of friendship into this one or this few paragraphs for me to read. So I don't know how your relationship looks on the inside, but this is really, really bad and frustrating for you. I would imagine that you would know that their permission to answer or to end the friendship isn't necessary. You don't really have to ask them for his permission. He won't let you. He's beholden. You're not beholden to him to decide what you do with your time, your space, and your energy. You're not. And it seems like there's a deep connection there where you're hanging on, hoping something else will happen, where you're allowing them to dictate what you do with your time and your energy and your space. I really want you to claim that back. Bring it back to yourself. You know what they do. You've seen them. They're very clear. You articulated it right here in these few paragraphs. You know exactly. I'll let you know is what he says when he wants to plan something with you. And then he doesn't. You hang on to that and he doesn't. You're not surprised by his behavior anymore. You're just frustrated. You've voiced this to him and still they don't do anything differently. They don't do anything differently, which means that they don't value you in the way that you want to be valued. They probably have some value there because you're like the breadcrumb thing where, they promise you something and they get your attention and you look at them for a minute and you rate on them, you rely on them, and they don't show up. They get to do that to you at your expense for their own gratification. It's like, look, somebody's hanging on to me and I can reject them and push them away anytime I want. And you hang out for that and you're there for that. And so I wonder what consistency looks like to you. Consistency, I imagine consistency says, we're going to do this thing on this date at this time. And you want them to say that. That is a reflection of who you are, right? You want people that do that. And it seems like you're hanging out with somebody who won't, and you want them to change. I don't think you're going to be able to get them to change by using the methods that you're doing right now. What I would suggest to you is to do those things that you want to do without them. I would suggest that you, one last time, very clearly say, hey, I don't want to be friends with you, and here's why. And here's how upset or here's how hurt I am. And it sucks. And that's it. There's nothing else to do. Because if you do anything else, if the next thing, guaranteed, the next thing you're going to do is say, wait, please, let's do something together. And you'll be like, yeah, when? I don't know, I'll let you know. You'll fall right back into that pattern. The way to break this pattern is to honor yourself and to recognize what you want in consistency. Write it down. Look at it. I want a friend who will actually plan and do things with me. Write the date out. Tell me what the date is and show up. That's what you're looking for. And this person clearly has shown that they are not that person. They're not consistent in the way that you want. They consistently tell you that they're going to do something and they don't do it. That's part of their pattern. They continue to do that thing. But what is it that you want? Consistency, reliability, and security. That's generally what we like in the connections that we have, right? So tell them one last time, because I think it feels good to just get stuff off your chest. And there's no expectation of them changing. Make sure you really put that into your brain, embed that into your body, that there's no expectation for them to change. What you will expect them to do is them to say, no, wait, hey, don't. I want to be your friend. And then you go back to your checklist of what you want in consistent friends and you say, this is not a thing you do. Nope. You cross it off and you cross their name off too. I know it's been 10 years. It's been 10 years. If you do this and you think, this could be the time that they're going to change, you're going to get caught right back into it. Ask yourself, is it worth it to wait to see if they're going to do something different? It's been 10 years and there has not been any consequence. All they have to do is say the magic words is, don't end the friendship. I think you're amazing. Or maybe they'll apologize to you and say, I'm sorry, I've just been busy or something else has happened. But you know it. You focus on you and look at your checklist for consistency and notice how they just don't measure up. And let go. I know it's easy for me to say, and it may be a process. You might step back into that pattern a few times, but realize that they're going to do it again. There's no consequence. The way to help them change is to let them help them really understand is that they can't treat you this way. And the way they recognize that you can't treat them this way is that you leave. You go. If you want them to gain understanding, you go. If you want to be around friends who hit that checklist for you, who will say what they mean and mean what they say, then find new friends. You may have to be alone for a while because now you have a checklist, and you can go out and look and see, okay, this person does what they say they're going to do. And then you can get closer to those people. Go to the places where people are more consistent. Check, make sure that they're more consistent. But for sure, you know that this person isn't quite your fit. Birds of a feather flock together. Be the friend that you want to see in the world. If you are that consistent friend who shows up, then don't hang out and tolerate people who don't. They are not part of your tribe. Redditor, thank you so much for asking your question. I know that you didn't ask me to answer it, but I did, and I hope that it helps. Best of luck to you. Take care. My name is Coach Lee Hopkins, and you have been listening to the Patterns of Possibility podcast. You can find me at patternsofpossibility.com and on all social media at Patterns of Possibility. And as always, I want to encourage you to be yourself, live your truth, and there you'll make lasting friendships.